Hi guys, and welcome back to Niall, and we're back with a podcast episode. Who can believe it? It's been a little while. Thomas has the confetti out.
I always have the confetti out.
Yeah, I went to Belgium last weekend, and this house is just full of confetti. It's a mess, I swear. Anyway, we thought we've not done a podcast in a little while because Jesus Christ, it's been busy. There's just been songs and songs and songs and songs. But We've got a little bit of a quiet weekend coming up. We've only got an Iceland song that's getting confirmed this weekend. So we thought, let's take our time and do a podcast. So at the time of recording, it's Friday night. We have approximately 18 songs that we have heard. You can catch all of the videos at niallpointspod.com to all of our reactions. And if you go there, you can also follow us on social media too. And we'd love if you can subscribe to the channel, like this video, and ring the notification bell to get a notification every time we post. Keep up to date with us. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Help us out, because like we've been begging to get to 500 subscribers, and lots of you have been answering our prayers, and we've gone up quite a lot actually, or at least for us. We feel like we've gone up. I think about 50 or 60 people have subscribed since we started begging 5 days ago. So at the time of recording, it'll be a little bit, yeah.
And the goal was 500 by the time Eurovision comes. I think we can do better than that.
We can get it to 1,000.
Oh, I was going to say 750. I wasn't going to get my hopes up to it. Let's see what happens. First of all.
Think big. Think big.
We thought what we would do is, seeing as we're about the halfway point of the song reveals, we do a little roundup of our favourites, talk about what we're maybe not vibing with, what we do like. Obviously, you can see all the reactions as we mentioned, but this is just a little condensed thing to talk about our absolute. Just in general, how the contest is going. And I think there's been a lot of naysayers about this year. I think it's a pretty interesting year. You've got some really different type of music out there. I think that might be one of the reasons we've got a few naysayers, is because some of the songs are very different from our usual. But who knows? I'm a big fan, but we should probably start off by talking about our joint two favourites, Finland and Belgium. Do you have your Belgian flag nearby? There you go. Yes. So we've obviously got Erika Vikman with Ikome, and we have Red Sebastian with Strobe Lights. I think we are going to be moving these two around quite a lot in the next few weeks, because they're so different, but there's a great vibe to both of them. And yes, some people won't get them. Oh my God, I love it. I love them both.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wish there was a way that both could take the trophy. Can we do like a 1969 style tie?
The thing is, I don't think that would ever happen again, because these days you do have the televote that has the upper, or they'd have to actually get the exact same amount of points from the jury and the televote, which I doubt would ever happen. And even then, there's rules, and they've made sure that a situation like that does never have to happen again. You know, they check out how many countries gave you points, how many 12s did you get, how many 10s did you get. So there's a whole system behind it. They but imagine having a tied first place, same amount of points, and then you lose out because the other country got 5 more points from the televote, for example. Imagine how bittersweet would that be, because then you miss out. I mean, to be honest, people have missed out on a win for 2 points.
True. Or you could make the show even longer and do a super final. Just have them perform again. Just
Sweden have done everything in their power last year to make it shorter, and Neil's like, let's make it longer again. Okay, we're sidetracking already. We've just started this recording and we're already sidetracking. So
of course we have. That's
Belgium and Finland.
I have put Belgium back on top. It's seesawed a little bit, but there's something about Belgium that just feels really and I'm not saying that Erica Vikman is not authentic, but there's just something truly authentic about that song, especially having spoken to you about it, about, you know, the trance scene within Belgium and stuff like that. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, I can kind of see this and hear it, and it took me a little while to get used to it. I was a little bit intrigued. It's not very much my genre, but once I laid back and just let it like sink in, I was all about it.
Yeah,
it's a really good beat as well. How do you think it's actually going to fare? I know it's one of our favorites, but how do you think it will actually do?
I don't know. I think it's going to do well. I definitely think it's going to do well. I think it's qualifying for sure.
Do we think another top 10 for Belgium?
I think that should definitely be possible. There are those who say it is a potential winner, and I know that I'm biased, obviously, being from Belgium. But I've seen many.
Belgium?
What was that beeping sound, by the way? Did you hear that? Were you getting messages?
No, I didn't hear it beep the sound.
Okay. Anyway,
maybe about washing machine.
I'm slightly biased, so I realize that. But I've actually seen many people from different nationalities saying that Belgium is a contender, and I'm inclined to agree. I know that a lot of people aren't getting it, but I also know that you can't vote against the song.
You can't.
And I also know that songs tend to be perceived completely differently on the night than they do in the pre-season. So it's been a while since I've heard people say, "Oh, this is a contender." I know that last year people talking about Musti being a potential contender, and the live performance wasn't there. Here we've already got a live performance. We've got a live performance that was fantastic, great vocal, a great impressive staging concept, which I'm sure they can elevate even more, unintended, for Basel. So I'm inclined to agree. I'm not saying that it is going to win. It really, you know, like we said, we're only 18 songs in, so a lot can still happen. But I'm confident that it should be at least a top 10. I think.
I do want to raise a point that I saw on Blue Sky yesterday that I completely disagree with. I saw someone try and say that Red Sebastian might be a little bit doomed because We Will Rave flopped that last year's Eurovision, and I just don't see a similarity between the two of them other than the fact that they maybe dance, and I think they're completely different types of dance. Like.
And it also had a lot more of a poppy feel. We Will Rave.
Yeah,
and you also had the vocal that was a bit shaky. You know, with all due respect to Colleen, we've seen Colleen at Eurofest in London last August. Yeah, Jesus Christ, just change the name, please. No, we saw Colleen at Eurofest in London in August last year, where she sang her song along with a couple of other songs. Fantastic vocal. But on the night over there with this big staging and just doing all the dancing and stuff, like the vocal was a bit shaky. And I never saw Colleen as a contender. And I don't think anyone, you know, some people will have called Turan, you know, the Azerbaijani twins from 2 years ago. Some people would have called that potential winners. You know, you always have people that see winners in everything. But other than that, you know, I didn't really see a lot of people say, "Oh, this is winner potential." But I am seeing it a lot with Red Sebastian. I was watching the reaction video from our friends at Eurovision Hub, who were all really positive, and several of them said this is a contender. I saw that Aussie Vision is calling it a contender, and then there's also other people that say, "Well, I can't see it as a contender," and that's fine. But again, you can't vote against the song, and I think it's going to be an entry that no matter what comes along the rest of the season, it's going to stand out. Yeah. For the genre, but also for the vocal and the staging. There is a concept there, and Belgium tend to do better with up-tempo songs anyway. So I'm not saying it's a guaranteed top 5 or a guaranteed contender, but I think it is, and I think it's. I'd sort of say like 80% sure that it's a top 10.
Okay, that's possible.
It could flop, but
I'm not sure if I can see it flopping. Let's hope that something else doesn't flop. It's Erica Vickman. Come on.
There's no. If there's one that I'm sure about, that's not going to flop.
That was a sex-based pun. How did you miss the sex? Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Flop?
Floppy.
Oh, well, that got lost in translation. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
I just thought it was really unfunny there for a second, and maybe it was. Maybe it was.
It worked in your head. It worked in your head.
My head is a special place. We don't need to discuss what goes on there. Anyway, Erica Vickman, the hype is still real. We were blasting this in the car driving to the train station in Belgium last week, and we then got a little bit worried that people might hear us and wonder what the hell's going on. But this is one that I'm having difficulty seeing not do well at all.
Yeah.
But it's fun. There's vocals. The staging that we've got so far is really cool. I think it will be elevated because it's Finland, and that's what Finland do. They take a staging concept and they just go, you thought that was good? How about this? So I can see them really elevating that as well. Yeah, it's one of those, I'm really gutted not to be going to any of the pre-season parties this year, because I feel like that would be a moment to just see Erica in a room full of people shouting "Ikome" at her.
Especially a load of gays.
Yeah, I mean, how many women can say that they've got a room full of gays to say they're coming? I would say it's not that many. So I would say that for me, this is a safe top 5. For me, might not happen, but that's where I see it.
It's always just speculation. You know, who knows? We might get 5 more songs that are even better than that. Who knows? We don't know what's coming. No pun intended. Again.
Erica is.
Erica is definitely coming. I do want to point out, and this is something that I've been thinking about for a while. I think if ever there was a universe where Erica Vickman does not reach the top 5, I think it'll be because of the juries. I think that is her weakness. I don't want to, in lack of a better word. We know that Karia didn't 100% convince the juries. There were a bit of shaky vocals there, which we didn't hear at UMK, but we did hear at Eurovision. You know, the vocal was a little bit shaky. He still came 4th or 5th, I think, with the juries, but the gap between him and obviously Loreen was immense. And I think that could also potentially be the downfall for Finland this year, that if the vocal is not 100%, and I will say, watching UMK back, the vocal isn't 100%.
Ooh.
Look, if you listen to it carefully, there are definitely a couple of the high notes that she hits perfectly, but there's also a lot of shakiness in her vocal. There's the few notes that sort of like felt a little bit flat for me. And this is the Olympics of music. If you want to win, that vocal is going to have to be perfect, especially when you do have some vocal heavy hitters. And it is a song that is going to have the juries divided, I think. Karia was blanked by a lot of juries. You know, he got a lot of high points, but he was also blanked by a lot of them. And if she doesn't want that to happen, she's going to have to improve the vocal, I think. That's just my opinion. Okay. I'm not saying that she was bad. It was still a good vocal, but could it have been better? Yes, I think so.
Okay, but we'll have to... What happens there.
But and this is just me talking about a potential win or a potential top 5. I'm not saying that this is going to go any lower than a 6th or a 7th place. But I think if she doesn't make it to the top 5, it's going to be because of the juries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've seen other songs that were really, really fan favorites, completely tanking with the juries and then getting a massive televote score.
Yeah. Are there any others that you think are either your favorites amongst your favorites, or you may not like them, or you do like them, but you think they're contenders?
Yes. Ooh, maybe I'm going to start with the last option where I don't necessarily like the song. I'm not going to talk about contenders because honestly, out of the songs that we have so far, I think the two that we named, Belgium and Finland, are the only ones so far that feel like contenders. In other years, you could easily add Ukraine. I don't think Ukraine is a contender this year, although I do think they're going to amp up the staging for Eurovision. So we're definitely down for a good result for them. But I don't see them going for another win, in my opinion. So in terms of winner potential, I think there's others that might come along. But for now, there is, of course, Estonia with Tommy Cash, which the bookmakers seem to believe is going to do really well. I think he's top 5 or top 4 with the bookmakers. We discussed this in our reaction video. I don't think with the staging concept that Tommy has right now that it is a contender. I don't see it right now. I think the song studio cut is or could be, but I think the performance was really lacking. I was missing some energy. I was missing, I don't know, more wackiness, more. I just want more from it. I know that you don't necessarily like the song at all. I still really think it's a good song, but for that winner potential, I'm gonna need more.
There's not really a lot of other ones that are given a lot of massive winner potential to me, so I'll agree with you there. Let's move on to songs that have grown on us, because there's one that we really need to talk about. Because in the reaction video, we were maybe not necessarily the nicest about it. Well, we weren't unnice, but we weren't the most infused about this. But for both of us, we have leaned into the crazy.
She has won.
It's gone. She's won over our hearts, and she's do re mi fa so serving can't.
Yep.
It is Mariana Conte for Malta,
yes.
the only song to really go viral outside of the Eurovision bubble that I've seen. I've seen a few little things, Tommy Cash appearing on Swedish news and stuff like that. But Malta's the only one that I've seen escape the Eurovision bubble in a big way on TikTok, etc.
Yeah.
Now, we were naysayers for a little bit, and we thought the joke was crass, but you know what? See, if you move past it and just lean into the fun, I'm having a good time. And this is another one we were signing in the car, worried what people were thinking about us as we drove past.
It just gets stuck in your head. And I think I remembered texting you at some point, I've got terrible, terrible news. This is obviously a joke for the Maltese people watching. I said, I've got terrible news. And you said, what? And I was like, cunt is growing on me. And it is, because it just got stuck in my head for days. I was singing along to it. And it's not just the joke about sister serving cunt. It's the entire song. It's catchy. It's catchy.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It's a disaster bop.
Who doesn't love it?
I think we can agree on that. Even if you really love this song, it is a disaster bop. I'm still not convinced that this is a safe qualifier. I could see it coming dead last in the semifinal. If for whatever reason people might be offended, people might just not get it, people might think it's silly, especially if they have the bouncing balls at the end of the performance. Love it or hate it, I can see it qualifying and doing well with the televote. I could see it getting a big televote score, but I could also see it completely flopping and coming dead last. God knows that I was a fan of Malta's song 2 years ago and last year. Both of those came last in the semifinal, which I just cannot understand. But yeah, it's catchy, and it is probably the one that's grown on me the most out of all the songs that we have. There's not a lot that I really don't like. That was one of them, and it really, I think,
Who would have thought that we'd be really rooting for a song about a woman coming and a woman talking about cats?
Yeah. What are you talking about? She's talking about singing.
No, I was talking about Erica Vickman as well. Okay. Any others that are really growing on you? Because I have to say that there's a few I've not really listened to, but Germ is still one of, I still really like that from Albania. Yeah. But growing on me is Claudia for Greece. Again, it's a ballad. Claudia. Sorry. With Asteron Mata. There's something about the performance that we watched that's missing for me. But when we listen to the studio cut, it is gorgeous, and there is a stunning vocal, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. I would like a little bit more from it. It's not my favourite, but it is growing on me. I think I was a little bit like about it last time, but I think it's a pretty solid song.
I loved Asteromata from the start. It's very much up my street. I think it's a great song. You know, the staging wasn't 100%, but none of the stagings were great at Ethnikos Telikos or whatever it's called, the national final. But I just think the song is fantastic. I don't see it as a potential winner or anything. And Greece is very hit or miss with staging. It's completely going to depend on the staging, what they do with it, how they elevate it. They did a great job with Amanda, I think was her name, 2 or 3 years ago, 2022. Great job. The song was not really for me, but the staging was fantastic. So if they amp it up, I could see this doing pretty well. Germ, also really, really good song. Loved it from the start. It's still very much in my top 5, I think. I have to be careful what I say because so many songs have come out. Because Albania was one of the first, but I still really think that's a great song. We've obviously, before we recorded this, we reacted to Armenia, which is in my 3rd place right now. So shout out to Armenia. Really good song. Definitely one of my favorites. And one that I want to mention, and I kind of want to redeem myself a little bit here because I was getting some hate from fans on this one, is Latvia.
Okay.
Let me put it out there straight away before I start talking. No, it has not grown on me. I still don't like the song. But I want to point out once again, if you would have listened to the entire video about Latvia, you would have heard me say several times that I do think Latvia has a lot of potential to do well. I think Latvia is definitely the kind of song that could easily qualify with the staging concept that they have. I thought the staging was brilliant. I thought the vocal was fantastic. It's just the style of this specific song that's not for me. But that's just one person's opinion. But again, I do really think that this could do well for Latvia, depending on what else we get. But I don't hate it, and I see why other people love it. So I just wanted to put that out there once again, that even though I don't like the song personally, I can still see it doing well. You know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We always try and look at the good things. There have been a few occasions where we've not been able to find many good things, and that's maybe more in the national final side of things rather than stuff that has actually succeeded to go to Eurovision. But yeah, we do always try and look for the positives. Like, I still do not like a party. I can understand why people enjoy it.
Yeah,
it has all the makings of something that I would really love. It's just not clicking for me. It's not there, but I can still. I don't care if you love it. If you love it, go on. I'll support you. If it comes on, I'll dance with you if you ask me to. It doesn't need to like the song. So always remember, when we are giving our opinions, they are just our opinions. We do not think we are better than anyone else. We don't think that we are a fountain of all knowledge. In fact, we pretty much accept that we are two idiots who just yap away for a little bit too long regarding Eurovision, and we've decided to start doing that on the internet instead of just between ourselves. That's essentially what this channel is. It's just us being like, we do this anyway. Let's just put it on the internet. So yeah, these are all just personal opinions. I love Latvia, but I've not listened to it in a little while. I've not really listened to any of the studio versions of this week's qualifiers, so I still sort of really need to listen to Lithuania, Norway, Poland in a little bit more detail.
Lithuania, I absolutely love. Fantastic entry. And as we can see from the reaction on the video, a lot of people seem to agree. A lot of people seem to be really into the Lithuanian song. Jesus Christ, why do they both start with an L, Latvia and Lithuania? We need to separate those as much as we can and not talk about Latvia and Lithuania right after the other. But yeah, great song.
I did just say we are idiots. So
yeah, we are idiots. That's one that I actually wanted to mention. Great song. Completely deserves all the attention that it gets. It's a very different one as well, and that's what we were talking about at the start of the video. Where like people are saying that this is a bad year, and I also disagree. I will agree on the fact that there's not as many songs in these 18 that we have that I'm putting on my playlist. Last year, at this point, I had a lot more songs in my playlist that I was actively listening to over and over again. But that doesn't mean that it's a worse year. It's just that, like you said, it's a very diverse year. There's a little bit of everything in there, and I think it makes for one of the more interesting years that we've had.
Because we have no idea what's even going to qualify at this stage. We've got a few that we're pretty sure of, but anything could happen. The other thing I want to say is that there isn't actually any songs that I truly despise. Obviously, I've spoken. I'm not a big fan of Like a Party. That is probably my last place. The Puppy Montesson is in need of a revamp, but apparently there's hints at a revamp coming for.
I think Luxembourg have confirmed that there will be a revamp.
Yeah, and I hope that comes with a bit of a revamp for the staging. But
have you? Sorry. I wanted to ask, have you, because we've put a statement out last year, and we're probably going to release the same statement this year at some point, where we have decided not to fully engage with two entries, which are the Israeli entry and the Azerbaijani entry. That is just our statement. We're not going to get into it too much in this video for obvious reasons. We will not be reacting to those songs. However, I did listen to the Azerbaijani entry because I'm just curious what's in the mix. What are we up against?
We're going to hear
and I have to say, it's a really good song. Azerbaijan's got a really good song this year, and it might actually be my favorite Azerbaijani entry in a while. It's a lot of fun. So, but again, principles first, I suppose. But I did want to mention it. We're not ignoring the fact that they're there.
Yeah.
They're there. We have to accept that. And we're also not judging any artist. We're not judging any person. I have not looked up any political views of these artists. I don't really. It doesn't really interest me. It's mainly just about the political situation of these. And the government. Decisions that governments are making. That's really what it's about. But I did want to just point out, really good song from Azerbaijan.
Okay, interesting. I've not listened to it yet. That's one I will probably look at this weekend. But no, I think it's an interesting bunch. I don't know where half of these are going to come, because I do think the quality is good overall. I don't think there's necessarily songs that make me go, ooh, that's...
No.
I can see the potential in all of them. Honestly, I think it's going to be really difficult to figure out what's not going to qualify. Obviously, that will happen. We'll talk about that maybe in 3 or 4 weeks when all the songs are confirmed. We will do our predictions, and we will remember to come back to our predictions and see how well we did this time.
Yeah. And also the live performances are going to change a lot. When you see there's a lot of songs haven't been performed live. Well, actually, most of them have, because most of them have come from national finals. But we're going to have a bunch of songs coming out from internal selections, which sometimes you only hear live for the first time at a pre-party or even at Eurovision itself during the rehearsal.
So interesting stuff to come. Is there any others that you want to give any mentions to for any reason?
Let's go over the list quickly. I do just briefly want to mention Czechia, which has not released their song yet. However, we did get a sort of an acoustic version of Kiss Kiss Goodbye from Adonis in the Maltese national final, I think.
Yes. I've not seen it.
I've seen a minute and it sounded interesting. It didn't really sound that acoustic to me, so I'm interested to see how different this version was to the actual studio version. Apparently, it's going to be released on March the 7th, according to Wikipedia. Any others that we haven't really mentioned? We haven't really mentioned Montenegro. So very briefly, good song from Montenegro.
I just don't know where
ballad.
It's going to go. It's difficult for it.
I'm leaning more towards a non-qualification than a qualification, but that's maybe more to do with, the historical qualification rate of Montenegro is not so good, and I don't really think that this is such a strong entry that you could say, oh, this is definitely qualifying.
Yeah.
To be honest, we haven't mentioned Norway.
Yeah,
which we both really liked.
It's one that I've only listened to once when we listened to it. So I don't have a solid overall opinion of it, but I did really like it. It's getting a little bit of a lukewarm response on our YouTube, which I can always tell when countries are excited for their own act by how many views it's getting and how many comments are coming from that country, and there's not necessarily been that hype from Norwegians.
No.
There has been some, but not as much as we've been seeing from Lithuania and
but you know what's
Finland.
Interesting about these? Oh, Finland is the Finns are going crazy for Erica, and rightfully so. Do you know what's interesting about this? These YouTube views is that you can see because obviously you can see how many people actually, or what percentage of people that see the video passing by, how many people actually click the video and watch. That percentage is actually above average for the Norwegian entry. So a lot of people that see the video passing by actually click it. However, it's not getting many views, which also means that maybe people aren't really looking it up a lot. Maybe not a lot of people actually want to see it, and the ones that do want to see it passing by and click it
are fans.
So I have Norwegian people on Blue Sky or Instagram that have told me or have asked me my opinion on the Norwegian entry, and I seem to be the only one that likes it, because the Norwegian people that I've been talking to are like, it's not so good.
Really?
Yeah. So. But, I also don't think that there was a lot of better options than that one. I didn't see MGP. I didn't watch it, but I reviewed the song's studio cut, and it was definitely a front runner. So,
yeah. Okay. I do like Norway, so I'm surprised that even some Norwegians aren't enjoying it that much. Interesting. Okay. Let's leave it there, because we said we were going to keep this to half an hour, and we've gone over a little bit because we always do.
Yeah, but we were also talking shit for 3 minutes before we started.
Yeah, but actual... that's also just what we do.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. Who are your favourites for this year's Eurovision so far? We have only got a few songs, so we're not going to hold you to it if you change your mind. But at this moment in time, who do you love? Who are you rooting for? Who is your favourite? Who would you place a £10 bet on if you were forced to? There's a good one. Answer down below in the comments, and do remember to like and subscribe to this video and hit the notification bell. And niallpointspod.com is the place to go for all of your Niall Poit needs, if you've got any. I don't know. We might have sorted it all for you here. But if you do want more, niallpoint.com. And I guess we'll see you very, very soon.
Yeah, and also just, before you say goodbye, please, again, keep the comments respectful. You have been busy deleting comments from people that were just really out of line. Just if you do have anything to say about a song, so if you don't like the song, or if you don't like what we're saying, you can disagree, but keep it respectful.
If you talk about people's appearances, if you trivialize geopolitical situations that are going on, if you are just mean to us, we don't want to do that. As I say, we're just friends. This is our safe space. We just do this for fun. Who cares? But we have our boundaries, and those are pretty fair, in my opinion.
Yes.
Anyway,
I think so.
Not to be too much of a downer.
No, but like it just needs to be said, because some of the reactions are just wild.
Yeah. Anyway, those of you that are nice, we love you, and you've been fantastic. So keep that up, and we will speak to you guys soon. Goodbye.
Bye.